First, doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is that thing where you open your phone for just a second and suddenly you're deep into a thread about nuclear war, the housing crisis, and a guy in Ohio who ate drywall. It's like emotional self-harm, but socially acceptable. For Gen Z, it's a lifestyle. You wake up, scroll through a disaster buffet of bad news, feel anxious, do nothing, scroll more. And no, you don't finish videos anymore. Your attention span has been obliterated by 15-second TikToks, and this video, already fighting for its life. Every headline gives your brain a tiny dopamine spike, but the cost is your ability to focus, feel joy, or function without your phone. At this point, your thumb has more screen time than your frontal lobe. Second, social media validation addiction. Social media validation addiction is when your brain refuses to feel good unless a stranger taps a little heart on your photo. It's the desperate need for likes, shares, flames, emojis, anything to prove you exist and you're doing better than Sarah from high school. It's turned life into a performance. You don't eat food, you stage it. You don't go on vacation, you produce content. And the wild part? Half the time, you don't even like the thing you post about. Third, parasocial relationships. Parasocial relationships are basically one-sided friendships where you do all the emotional lifting and the other person doesn't even know you're alive. You follow their every move, you know their birthday, their Starbucks order, their childhood trauma. And meanwhile, they call you guys because they can't be bothered to remember a single username. It's like being in love with a ghost who posts vlogs. Now, to be fair, Gen Z didn't invent this. People have been obsessed with celebrities forever. But the difference now is they talk to you, or at least they pretended to. They look into the camera and say, "You're my favorite people in the world." And your brain, raised on loneliness and Wi-Fi, goes, "Yup, this is intimacy." You may feel it comforting since it's way easier to obsess over someone online than deal with your own messy friendships or actual relationships that require, effort. But here's the harsh truth. That creator you gave $50 to for a birthday shout out, they don't care. You're not a friend. You're revenue. 4. Streaming binging. Streaming binging used to be a weekend treat. Now it's a full-time job with no salary, no benefits, and no end in sight. You open Netflix just for one episode and suddenly it's 3 a.m. Your room smells like a hot Cheetos graveyard, and you've watched a full season of a show you can't even remember the plot of. This isn't entertainment anymore, it's survival. Gen Z doesn't binge shows because they love them. They binge because making eye contact with reality is too exhausting, and streaming platforms know this. That's why the next episode button is faster than your will to live. You pause it halfway through an episode, switch to YouTube, then back to Netflix, then open TikTok while it loads, because your attention span is now basically a hamster on Adderall. 5th, smartphone dependence. Smartphone dependence isn't even a problem anymore. It's just how we live now. You check your phone to check the time, and suddenly you've opened 4 apps, watched 2 people argue about taxes, and forgotten what day it is. Your phone isn't a tool, it's a leash. And the sad part? You're the one holding it. Gen Z can't go 10 minutes without checking for a notification that isn't even there. Phantom buzzes, random swipes, opening Instagram, closing it, then reopening it 5 seconds later like the app owes you rent. 6. Vaping. Vaping is what happens when you take smoking, remove all the shame, add bubblegum flavor, and hand it to a teenager in algebra class. It's marketed like tech sleek, rechargeable, and just toxic enough to feel cool, but not immediately ruin your lungs. Gen Z didn't invent addiction, they just made it aesthetic. You hit that little stick every 10 minutes in the car, in the bathroom, during Zoom calls. No ash, no smell, just watermelon fog and a growing sense of dependence you pretend isn't there. It's better than cigarettes, you say, but you and I both know you are lying to yourself. 7. Gooning. Gooning is basically when watching adult content turns from a quick habit into a full-blown ritual. We're talking hours lost, dozens of tabs open, headphones on, lights off, like you're preparing for a NASA launch, except the only thing you're exploring is your own dopamine receptors. It's not about pleasure anymore. It's about chasing stimulation. You're not even into what you're watching. You're just stuck. Like a zombie in a dopamine loop, scrolling for the perfect video that somehow never shows up. And yeah, this isn't just guys being guys. It fries your attention span, kills your motivation, and turns your ability to feel actual connection into mush. You stop seeing people as people and start treating everything like content. Real life intimacy? Boring. Eye contact? Terrifying. A conversation with a real human. Practically science fiction. The worst part? You know it's ruining you, but the comfort is too easy. You tell yourself, I'll stop tomorrow. Like it's a gym membership you never signed up for. Here's the thing. If your most intense daily activity is pixel-based self-destruction in HD, you're not relaxing. You're rewiring your brain to feel less, care less, and want less from the world around you. So, unless your dream is to become a desensitized productivity corpse with carpal tunnel and trust issues, it might be time to log off. And remember that life exists outside your screen. Hit the like and subscribe button if you are enjoying the video. 8. Caffeine overconsumption. Caffeine overconsumption is when your bloodstream is 30% coffee, 40% iced matcha, and the rest is just pure anxiety. You're not a little tired, you're chronically exhausted, and instead of fixing your sleep, you just mainline lattes and call it personality. Let's be real. Gen Z doesn't drink caffeine for energy. They drink it for survival. Woke up late? Coffee. Didn't sleep? Coffee. Mild existential crisis at 3 p.m. Iced coffee with oat milk and 3 pumps of denial. 9. Buy now, pay later addiction. Buy now, pay later is basically can't afford it? Perfect. Take it anyway and suffer later. It's the financial equivalent of eating a whole cake and promising to jog it off in 6 to 8 business weeks. Apps like Klarna and Afterpay have convinced an entire generation that debt is just quirky. You're not broke, you're installment rich. You've got 4 payments left on a hoodie you already stained and a mild heart attack every time your phone buzzes with a payment reminder. Gen Z doesn't even blink anymore. You'll break down a $200 purchase like it's a Netflix subscription, then get hit with 5 of them at once and wonder why your bank account's in a coma. 10. Clout chasing or flex culture. Clout chasing is the fine Gen Z art of doing absolutely anything for attention except work on yourself. It's filming your friend crying but in good lighting. It's renting a car you can't afford, standing next to it like you own it, and captioning the post, "Grind never stops." It's flexing a lifestyle that doesn't exist except on your Instagram highlight reel and your Afterpay account. Flex culture isn't new, but Gen Z just made it faster, faker, and algorithm approved. 11th, crypto and fast money gambling. Crypto and fast money schemes are Gen Z's favorite way to say, I don't want to be poor, but I also don't want to wait. It starts with one TikTok saying, this coin is about to explode, and suddenly you've thrown your rent money into a cartoon frog token called Flopcoin. Because some guy with a ring light and 0 credentials said it's a guaranteed 100x. You're not investing. You're gambling in high definition with rainbow graphs and Discord pump groups run by a 14-year-old named Crypto Messiah. 12th, influencer mimicry. Influencer mimicry is when your entire personality slowly gets replaced by someone you follow online. Usually a 25-year-old who lives in a $3,000 a month apartment, drinks matcha with 2 hands, and somehow has the emotional stability of a Buddhist monk and a skincare brand deal. You start dressing like them, talking like them, journaling like them. Not because it makes you happy, but because you're quietly hoping that if you just copy their lifestyle hard enough, maybe your life will magically start to feel like theirs. 13. Comparison anxiety. Comparison anxiety is when you scroll through other people's lives and convince yourself you're failing because someone else, your age, just bought a house, launched a startup, ran a marathon, and had a destination wedding, all before you've had breakfast. It's that sinking feeling that you're not doing enough, being enough, or even existing correctly. Just because some guy you went to school with now posts gym selfies and uses words like equity, And let's be honest, Gen Z lives in a 24/7 comparison simulator. 14. Toxic productivity or hustle culture. Toxic productivity is when sitting still feels like failure because somewhere along the way, you started measuring your self-worth in completed tasks and half-finished Google Docs. 15. Main character syndrome. Main character syndrome is when you genuinely believe your life is a movie. Except the plot sucks, the pacing's weird, and no one's watching. It's that feeling that you're the center of the universe, and everyone else is just a supporting character in your coming-of-age story. Gen Z didn't just romanticize life, we monetized it. You go on a walk and suddenly it's a healing arc. You sit at a coffee shop in silence and caption it, "Learning to enjoy my own company," while checking your phone every 6 seconds to see if anyone noticed. 16. Self-diagnosing mental illness via TikTok. Self-diagnosing mental illness via TikTok is when you watch a 30-second video about ADHD and suddenly decide your entire personality is a clinical condition. You forget where you put your phone, a DHD, you cry sometimes, depression, you like things to be organized, OCD, you blink twice and get nervous in public, social anxiety disorder, probably with a sprinkle of trauma. 17. Aesthetic obsession. Aesthetic obsession is when you care more about how your life looks than how it feels. You're not buying the candle because it smells nice. You're buying it because it's beige and looks good next to your overpriced glass of lemon water. Gen Z turned every part of life into a brand. Your desk setup has to match your mental health arc. Your breakfast has to look like it belongs in a Paris cafe, even though it's just oats and anxiety. 18. Hyperconsumption of self-help content. Hyperconsumption of self-help content is when you've read 12 books, watched 48 YouTube videos, like 63 motivational TikToks, and still haven't done a single thing to improve your life. You know all the habits. You've highlighted every line in Atomic Habits. You've built the perfect Notion setup. You've got affirmations on your mirror, vision boards on your wall, and a podcast in your ears telling you to just start. And yet, you haven't started anything. Because consuming self-help feels productive. It gives you the illusion of progress. You're not stuck. You're preparing for year 3 in a row. 19. Over-reliance on AI tools. Over-reliance on AI tools is when you outsource every task, every thought, and eventually your entire identity to a robot that doesn't even have a sleep schedule. You don't write anymore, you prompt. You don't think, you ask ChatGPT to do it in a witty tone. Your calendar, AI. Your emails, AI. Your entire personality. One more prompt away from becoming a productivity-themed chatbot in human clothing. Gen Z loves AI because it makes everything easier. Need a workout plan? Done. A breakup text? Done. A 10-slide deck on why you're burnt out? Double done. You don't need effort, just the right keywords. But here's the thing. When the machines are doing the work and the thinking, what's left for you to actually develop? You're not getting smarter. You're just getting better at asking for shortcuts. 20. Virtual escapism. Virtual escapism is when real life is so overwhelming, boring, or emotionally bankrupt that you decide to live inside a screen instead. Whether it's a video game, a fantasy series, or some AI waifu simulator you swear is just for the plot. You're not resting when you binge 14 hours of Skyrim. You're not just relaxing when you build an entire life in The Sims that's somehow more stable than your real one. You're running from responsibilities, from discomfort, from the general chaos of being a human with emotions and bills. Gen Z has mastered the art of disappearing without ever leaving the room. You don't have to travel, confront anything, or grow. Just plug in, zone out, and pretend that the outside world doesn't exist. Who solved problems by running from them? I guess no one. So yeah, maybe Gen Z isn't doomed. They're just distracted, over-caffeinated, emotionally unavailable, and living in 47 tabs at once. But hey, which one of these vices hit a little too hard for you? Be honest, was it the hyperconsumption of self-help content? The TikTok therapy? The crypto phase you still pretend never happened? And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.